You know what it is. How you doing today?
Yo, what's going on, people? Glad to be here. We've not been around for a little while. As you guys know, it's a bit on and off. Not consistent, but we will have a show next week, and I do think at least three of us will be here. Hopefully, the entire quartet. We was trying to get three today, but Maestro's doing Maestro things. The teacher's got to teach and all that. So, yeah, I guess it's going to be myself and Danny. Now, apologies. We were supposed to do this at 7. So, anyone who wants to watch the Club World Cup final, we understand if you dip off, but we'll try and keep it as succinct as possible. Um, Danny, first things first, though, how have you been? Because we obviously haven't spoken um, properly for a couple of weeks now. How is everything?
Yeah, man. All's good. All's well. Everything's blessed. Yeah, just um, uh, yeah, just working, grafting. Had a nice day out in Brick Lane, Spitalfields with the family, and that sunshine's been all right. Worked yesterday. I had one mojito though after my first job, and the guy he put a lot of rum in, and it bust my head, man, because the heat when you're in the 32 degrees standing in a park. And then I went to the second job on the boat party, and my head was just banging, especially with the rocking
Wow.
and waving. I was like, oh, this is the worst thing I should have done. I should have
I
waited till.
mean, you're not young like that. Those powers of recuperation, they're not there anymore. You got to be careful.
I know, but I still made it to stay up all night and watch the card. But I think the good thing though was that the show started quite early for us over here, so I think that was
Yeah,
beneficial. If I had to stay up and hold on till like 2 in the morning for the first fight, I probably would have called it a night.
I hear that. No, to be fair, I hear that. You know, what, we'll talk about that, but we're gonna save that card. Actually, no. Do you know what? Let's do it in reverse because that's the fresh topic. All right. So let's actually talk about that card. So, you managed to. Oh, just before we start, because we won't be going in and out of the chat like regularly, but because you guys are here obviously from early, Jesus M, shout out to you. Thank you very much for being here. And Rolando Sanchez boxing news. So yes, these are definitely Maestro's people. Big up to you, Skyliner, the editor in the building as well. Um, and Philip Answer as well. Say glad. What do you say? Glad this card didn't make me fall asleep. Okay, cool. Yeah. So speaking of the card now, do we want to go from main event or do we want to kind of just go through the card as it started? Where do you want to take it? Because there's a lot of different conversations we could have.
Um, we could start from Morel, I
Okay.
guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Look. So the card obviously started at 11. Now, at the time, I saw something. This is just from my point of view. Like I saw a graphic that said um, the prelims of the card will start like 10:30, and then the main card will start at 11. And it said that the prelims was Alakel and Satsumi. So I said, "Oh, okay. Well, I want to go from the Morel fight, so I'll start from 11. Start from 11, and then see the Satsumi fight. Now, don't get me wrong, cool, but I was tired. I was I needed that sweet nap that I had the day before for the Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano fight, and I didn't quite get that because I got duped by the timings. But to be fair, Satsumi 4 rounder got it over in 2 rounds. That wasn't a problem until we then had to wait about 45 minutes for the next bout to start. I'm assuming that they had slots that they put on the actual card to say, well, look, you will ring walk between this time and this time, and like we can't move it we can't go before that, we can't go after that. That this is just your time to be here, your time to get ready, your time to slot. Clearly, they do it for the American broadcasters, more than likely advertising and stuff like that. But I'm just starting off with a little bit of a moan because ultimately if you're making us pay per view in the UK for these events, we deserve to have some consideration in how the event is paced. And it's all well and good having these hours in between one fight to the other fight when it's 7 or 8 in the evening. But when it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, that's not appropriate. I was gonna say, unless you're gonna give it to us for free, that's we have a right to complain. We have a right to have that time. That's my personal opinion on it. But okay, talking about the first fight, David Morrell and Imam Katayev. Now, every fight, because it was late night and because I was expecting a lot of knockouts, I said from the start, I'm not going to be scoring any fights. I'm just going to watch them. I'm going to try and do the commentary. I'm going to try and make it as entertaining as I can. 11, 12, 1, 2 in the morning, but I wasn't scoring. From what it looked like to me, Morrell got gifted a decision. I feel as if he's got this thing where, because he knows he can punch, he's almost like he won't do the work because he knows that he's going to almost get you to open up and create an opening for you. Now, that worked very well at 168, but at 175, where these guys are bigger, stronger, and can take these punches, if you don't have the work rate to go alongside the flashiness or the style or the power, or to be able to try and set people up, if you don't get that person out of there, which so far, after 2 fights at 175, you've not been able to do, you've got to realize, okay, so I've got to work more now in order to make these rounds clear and make it obvious that I am winning. And I personally didn't feel like he did that. Now, again, I didn't score it. So I could go back, watch it and say, oh, actually, yeah, there's 6 rounds I gave him, or I gave him 7 rounds. It's funny to me because the one round that he had the most amount of success in, where he controlled the entire round and dominated the entire round, it's the same round he got knocked down in the 5th just by being stupid. And when that occurred, I was like, oh, okay, this just got interesting. The bell went, saved him in that round. Came out next round, it was a little different. So yeah, 2 things. I've said it before. I feel like number one, first thing he's got to do is get rid of Ronnie Shields. The first thing, I've maintained it from the start. You don't win anything in this day and age with Ronnie Shields as your trainer. He needs someone that's going to make him work. Someone that's going to not maybe pander to his skill set, make him have to grind, make him have to increase that cardio and increase that work rate. Haven't got any names at the top of my head. Well, I've got a couple, but I don't know if they'll gel just yet. I'd have to do a bit more research. But Katayev, he did well first couple rounds, but he looked like he was out on his feet from round 3 onwards, like arms down, plodding forward, mouth wide open, taking some extremely deep breaths, which I've never seen a boxer take in the way that he's taken them. And maybe he wasn't tired. Maybe that's literally his style and how he gets himself re-energized. But yeah, it didn't look right to me. Your opinion? Let's go.
Yeah, some good points there which you made there. Yeah, so with Dave Morrell, this is his second fight at 175.
Third.
Oh, sorry, his 3rd fight at 175. And yeah, with the fight, the first couple of rounds, I thought, yeah, he's looking good, etc. He's doing well, looking himself. Then he dropped his hands in a strange manner. It was in a, you're gonna smile at this one, in a Errol Spence-esque, with the funny enough, against the Cuban, what's his name again?
Oh, what you're talking about? The one that beat Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when he dropped his hands and then he just got caught and then obviously stumbled in the rope, but David Morrell just like looked like hands down, looked like weirdly, and then just got caught and went over. And I was thought, what's going on here? Like, and I thought, and the first thing that come into my head is Maestro must be punching air right now. So he's got up, Bell saved him, he's come out, he's still trying to find his feet. Then he's still losing the rounds because all he's doing is it's the same thing he was doing in the Benavidez fight, but I don't think he needed to do it this much because Katayev, I don't think, is an onslaught man like that, where he just sits on the ropes and just takes unnecessary barrages of punches, and then tries to wait for you to sort of either punch yourself out or punch inside of your combinations. So that's what he was doing a lot, but he was getting outworked by a man I don't think necessarily should have outworked him. With Benavidez, yes, he's a workhorse, work rate type of guy, so that made sense in that fight. But with this one, it's like he unnecessarily decided to just take refuge on the rope, take punches around the body, which was, you could see, he's hurting because this guy he's heavy-handed, and then he's only late on where he started actually trying to take advantage of of Katiev, Imam Katiev, breathing like a 20-a-day smoker, and landing these big uppercuts where I was like, wow, Katiev has got a chin. He's just taking these uppercuts shot after shot. But then when he's trying to throw the hooks, he's missing with the hooks. So he was landing the uppercuts, but then missing with the hooks with the follow-up shots, which probably could have finally got him over. Because in the last round when he did catch him, he looked like he nearly had him hitting the floor, but it was just too little too late. And with Ronnie Shields, maybe he's got him on that Miami training. As I said, I don't like Cuban fighters who end up in Miami. Yes, David Morrell Jr. is living in like Minneapolis, but to me, it's like he's living in this fancy lifestyle and relying on his talent rather than necessarily, as you said, putting in the work to take himself to the next level and be able to put the work rate in and put those punches in bunches. Because if he's able to reel off powerful combinations, he will be getting someone like Katiev out of there. I think I had Katiev winning the fight, in my opinion, but I think a lot of people online are thinking it's some kind of justice because of what's happened recently with him and the test. So they're thinking, yeah, we'll rather Morrell get this gift over a man who's got a gift where he's been allowed to fight because someone's got that shut your mouth money popping. So yeah, Katiev didn't even look too bothered. He clapped his hands, very graceful in defeat. Maybe he thought, you know what, I've got to just hold this one and not cry because I've got my check. So
yeah, I think that check was really nice. I don't think you worry about the loss if you get the kind of checks that Turkey gives people.
Yeah.
Quickly, just before we carry on with that, D-Star Boxing, shout out to you. Katie Taylor versus Chantel Free in London would be fire. So basically, for anyone who doesn't know, shout out to D-Star, obviously big friend of all of our channels. We used to go on the round table together. He's been basically campaigning for Chantel Cameron to get the Katie Taylor trilogy, but he says that Chantel deserves to have it in London or within the UK. And he tweeted me the other day, basically just saying even Base will agree that she deserves a trilogy. And I didn't even understand what he meant. He's like, oh, well, you said that she should only have it in Ireland. The backstory is I actually never said that it should only happen in Ireland. All I said is that Katie Taylor has the right to dictate what happens if that trilogy takes place. If she wants it in Ireland, Chantel Cameron has no leverage to say otherwise. She's going to have to go pack up her bags and go there a third time if they want it in the States or wherever. Chantel, at the end of the day, was fighting on a prelim, not even the regular undercard of the broadcast. She was on the prelims on the YouTube version in her comeback fight. And since the Katie Taylor loss, has not been in any real meaningful fights, has sort of been an afterthought for everyone, to be honest. And I'm not saying that's all her fault, but it just goes to show there's no marketability. And the fact that Katie Taylor, of all people, threw shots at her at the press conference tells you that she ain't even caring about that. Talking about she needs to see if she can sell out a 1,000 seat arena first. Like, I didn't expect them kind of bars to come from Katie. I gave her a biggest payday she didn't even deserve. all that good stuff. So, I mean, look, I think it will happen, but more chance than anything, it's going to happen it's going to happen back in Ireland, D-Star. And he also says, if Katie does the trilogy in the UK, I'll go out there. Yeah, you'll go if it's in Ireland too. Also, there's another comment that we have to address. Shout out to man.
Philip Answer.
No, shout out to SWJ. He says, Maestro, what did he say? Maestro moving like Wiley with his face on the poster but never turning up.
Oh my god! But also, thank you D Styles for that $2. Also, by the way,
Yeah,
but yeah, that was it. Your Dennis Ugas was the name.
Yeah, you Dennis Ugas. Yeah,
you Dennis Ugas.
It came, it came to me after we said it, but I was like, hey, there's no point going back to it. But yeah. Okay, so look, very quickly, I guess, what do you think for both guys, Morrell and Kataev next? What do you think they do potentially?
Well, I kind of liked what the broadcast team was saying, is that maybe they need to take him down a couple of levels to have an easier sort of fight, because he's only had 11 fights now, and he is getting put through the ringer a bit early doors. You don't want to burn him out too early, so maybe bring him down a couple of levels, let him get a nice little knockout. But then also, as you said about the coaches, I would think maybe go to Ishmael Salas or Fernand. What's the other one? them Spanish man, even though I don't rate them, but I think they might work well with him because they're used to that Cuban style.
Yeah, but
Angel
Salah, I mean,
Fernandez.
Salas does move about, but he is primarily based in sort of Miami in Florida. I like the fact that Morel doesn't base himself in Miami with the rest of like the Cuban contingency. So I'm
Yeah.
happy for him to stay in Minnesota. Um, but I just feel like he needs to get either another trainer from down that way, or he needs to or maybe relocate to like Texas or somewhere like that. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, or if someone like Ishmael Salas or Angel Fernandez can go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, and train him, that would be good. Rather than him go to Miami, because if he goes down there, then it'll be a wrap for him. So I don't want that.
I actually wouldn't mind seeing him go train with Bozy Ennis and Jaron and what's his name, Andy Cruz. I think that might be, Stephen Fulton's down there. Get some of that, that Philly style in there as well. Mix that in, and all of them that are very, light on the feet, love to dance and all that stuff. Same as him. That might be a good fit.
Yeah, yeah.
But all right, cool. So moving on from that bout there, we then went straight into the first world title fight of the night, which ended up being Alberto Puello versus Subriel Matias. Now, personally, I can't. This was my fight of the night. I thought it was the my favorite. It wasn't necessarily the most high skilled, but I feel it was just my favorite fight. It's the one that actually kept me up because I was starting to fade in some of the other ones, even though they were good. But yeah, what did you think of that one?
Yeah, that was very exciting because um I did pick I picked Matthias to knock him out, but that it didn't happen. But it was a very entertaining fight. Both guys landing big shots, but with Mateus, he doesn't need to load up. But Alberto Puello, he stood up to all those shots. You didn't really see him rock or roll or anything like that, and he's firing back. Mateus with relentless pressure. If anything, if anyone got hurt the most in there, it probably was Mateus when that massive uppercut came in late. I think that was about the 10th round, and it was like, whoa. And you saw in the replay his eyes kind of roll, but he managed to stay on his feet, even though he's got skinny legs. But sometimes, you know, looks can be deceiving because he's got a very good beard. But it was just very good to see as well, see two Afro Latinos from the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico once again going at it. They've got a huge rivalry, even though some of them do like to scream, "I'm not black, I'm not black." But yeah, it was good to see the two brothers getting it on, and yeah, I think it was the right decision with Mateus getting the nod. But it's good to see also that Turkey Al Sheikh did book Puello his next fight as well, for what was it, the winner of Mateus versus Dalton Smith, which they seemed to book right there and then, which was a surprise. But that was good. So a man does know his scheduling, and he's going to be probably back in the gym sooner rather
Well,
than later.
he didn't say that was necessarily his next fight. He just said he guarantees him the shot at the winner of that fight. He might get a fight beforehand. They might bring him back. He may because maybe he doesn't want to be out of the ring too long. Anyways, he
Himself.
might take a tick over somewhere else. But no, I hear that. Obviously, with the whole funny enough, right? That whole bit about the I'm not black. Just I know obviously you threw it out there. Just to clarify, they're not saying that they're not of I guess African origin or whatnot. But they're not stating. They're saying they're not black in the standard of what the United States of America claim to be black because they don't want to discount the other parts of their heritage. I saw a documentary on it the other day, so I thought I would highlight that. So it's not them saying that they don't want to be black people, just that they don't want to conform to the way that the United States frame people to be of that dominion. Um,
Okay, send me that documentary. I'd like to see it.
yeah, I'll show it. I'll send it to you. Well, it wasn't a full documentary. It was something I saw. I'll show it to you after the video,
Yeah, yeah.
after the stream. Um, where was we? Right. So yes, look, with that fight, look, the pressure. I felt that same as you that after a while, Prayer he would get stopped. I didn't think necessarily he'd like get cold knocked out like some of the other guys, but I just felt that the pressure itself, he wouldn't be able to keep up the movement, keep up the having to work at the pace that Matias sets, especially when he's just walking forward. However, Alberto Puello basically done the exact same thing that Shakur did, just slightly worse. he didn't move. He didn't use his legs too much. He probably realized, okay, I don't need to use my legs, and if I do, I'll probably get tired quicker. Maybe it's easier for me to just use good defense, try to tuck up, and then find my counters, find my openers, and maybe I can clip him with a good one. Now, unfortunately, the only bad thing is that Puyo doesn't have like big mainstream power, and I think that's one of the only things that will hold him back against, like, I guess, the big pressure fighters. But if he had just a little bit more pop, I think Matthias would have been in trouble, because he got caught clean on numerous occasions, especially in between the shots. And there were these little short cuffing shots that you didn't even see them get set up. Like, there was no way to prepare for them, and they didn't even really look like super obvious to the judges. More than likely, it was just, but you just see it just come out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden, like, Matthias gets one, but then he just goes straight back to work. So it would have been good to see, obviously, if Puyo had a bit more snap on the shots. But the fact that he basically stayed in the pocket, stayed with Matthias, yeah, he held a bit too much rather than trying to create distance or spin off and then throw his own work. But he dug in there, and he definitely, I think he probably took that whole Tom and Jerry thing to heart himself, saying, okay, I'm a boxer. I like to move. I like to create space. I like to, fight on my terms. But maybe for me to get another shot, especially if it doesn't go my way, I've got to show up and show out, and he did. So I wanna congratulate him. I want to congratulate Matthias as well. He's lost his 100% KO streak for victories, bit like Artur Beterbiev. Not all good things last forever, but Alberto Puello definitely showed that he is one of the top guys at 140. And I'm glad that not only is he being promised that he will get another opportunity at the title for having such a close and competitive fight, but that he's one of those guys that's like a high risk, low reward. Well, if he gets an opportunity at the belt again, at least that way he may be able to parlay that into future opportunities down the line, especially if he was maybe to regain the belt or was just to have another great performance. And at least, people won't have the excuse to, oh, he brings nothing to the table. Now, he's been on the biggest platforms and he showed up and showed out, and now people know who he is. So yeah, definitely congrats to him and to Matthias. Moving swiftly on to the co-main event, Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda. Everyone was wondering, will Shakur run? Like, is he really going to take it to heart? All of the Tom and Jerry stuff that Turkey Al Sheikh has been labeling at him, which is, for me, it was kind of weird, because apart from two fights that I've seen, I've actually never seen Shakur, quote unquote, run, apart from the 2 rounds at the end of the Oscar Valdez fight, but that's after he'd already basically beat him up for 10 rounds and made it, very convincing that he was ahead and winning. And I think his hands started to hurt him, and maybe he didn't want to risk mashing them up even more to try and go for the conclusive stoppage. But he's a person that he just stays on the outside of, he stays just on the outside of range, uh, takes a half step back, counters you, and then when he feels like he's got you going, or when he feels like he wants to put you under pressure, he steps forward. He steps forward with the guard. He starts touching the body, and then he just makes you miss, counters you in the pocket. I've seen Shakur quite frequently in a lot of his fights in the pocket. Just the fact that obviously he's not knocking people out stone cold every single time has maybe played into this narrative that of the runner, so to speak, or that he's boring. But I've never actually thought that of him. Yes, he's had two stinker fights, but I've never thought of him as a boring fighter or as a fighter that's like lacking the ability to engage. And in this fight, he took the whole play away from Zepeda. For someone whose output is supposed to be loaded at like 1,000 punches a round, or 1,000 punches a fight, I think Shakur shrunk him down to 500. So that one first of all tells you that he controlled the pace, he controlled the narrative of sort of the exchanges. Outside of that, Shakur threw 150 punches less than Zepeda, and I think landed like 45 punches more. A total punch percentage of, I think it was like 52%, power punches 56%, jabs like 43, something like that. It was just, masterclass stuff. Yeah, there was a couple shaky moments. The time in the third when he got knocked. To be honest, I looked at that several times and just thought his foot slipped on the canvas, because there was a couple times he was wiping his feet after that as well. So um, obviously he didn't go down. It looked a lot worse than it maybe was, but after that shot, he tucked up, rolled everything else, arms, gloves, everything. So it was just a brilliant performance. I had it similar to I mean, I wasn't scoring, but it looked like a 116, 112, 117, 111 type fight to me. And I saw the scorecards 118, 110, and 119, 109. I was like, raw. Okay, I didn't think it was that wide, but to be fair, I can't really argue. Maybe the 109, the 119, 109 one, maybe that's a bit of a piss take. But 118,
Hmm.
110, I mean, I hear it. If you could, there's arguments and plausibility to say that Zepeda only was able to effectively win 2 rounds. Yes, there was a lot of output, but very little was landing, and I think that was quite visible to see on the broadcast. And Shakur just stepped up, showed these levels above, and now the guys who need to step up to the plate against him. Let's see if they do. What did you think of the bout?
Yeah, so I did pick Shakur to win on points, um, but it was always going to be very interesting because of William Cepeda's output. It's always been relentless, and nobody's been able to stop him just going on and on and on. And people did sort of pitch the styles of Shakur Stevenson with Tevin Farmer, and says that Shakur Stevenson's like a better version of Tevin Farmer, so he should be able to capitalize and do better than what Farmer did, especially as some people did feel that Farmer even won the first fight versus Cepeda. But this fight, Shakur didn't fight. I wouldn't say he looked anything really like Farmer too tough. If anything, he looked very reminiscent of Floyd Mayweather. And the reason why he's able to do that, which some people's like, wow, is he like the next Floyd? Is he the new Floyd reincarnated? No, he's not, but he can in certain fights. Now, the last time he looked like Floyd, in my opinion, was when he fought Jamel Herring. And funny enough, you did a video of, I think it was something about a southpaw who was trying to do the shoulder roll against an orthodox, and it didn't work, and it's just done because you're on the wrong angle. And this is why Shakur, though, he understands this, and when he fights southpaw, he's able to do the Floyd style because it's southpaw versus southpaw, so he's at the right angle where he's literally, you can do tape versus tape. And there's a video, I think I saw it on Twitter today, and he was doing the exact same defense moves that Floyd was using on Canelo and on Cotto and on De La Hoya and certain other fighters. Catch, catch, catch. Even the same combinations, reeling off when he is coming back with his own flurries. And he was able to do that. And that's probably why the last time I say I was really impressed with Shakur Stevenson was probably the Jamel Herring fight. Because once again, it's another southpaw. So Shakur, even though they do say, oh, you have two southpaws, it cancels each other out. Shakur actually looks better against southpaws than orthodoxes. Yeah, he's had two stinkers, and the two stinkers was against Tony Clary when he went on the run, and then also Edwin Dos Santos when
No,
he
it
got,
was Nicotillo.
no, Toka Clary when he got caught, and then he said, "Oh, I didn't like how that felt," and he just went proper negative and was ducking.
Well, then there's three, because he did it against Jeremiah Nicotillo as well.
Yeah, because even Andre Ward was saying, yeah, he wasn't really impressed with the running around. But this was Andre Ward saying it, and that was in lockdown as well. I remember that fight; it was on Top Rank. And then yeah, the Edwin Dos Santos, where he was sprinting around, like, just looking stupid. But
But
I think
funny enough, that's also Southpaw v Southpaw.
I know, but yeah, maybe he just didn't like. He maybe just didn't like. He didn't like the power, and obviously Willis Cepeda, he's got a lot of stoppages, but he's not. I don't think he's a power puncher like that because it. Yeah, apart from, but he did catch Shakur with a jab in round 3, which rocked him, and I
But that's
definitely.
the one I was talking about. Sorry, I don't actually think he really like rocked him like that. I think looking at it, every time I've seen it, it just looks like Shakur's foot slips. Like he gets caught, but as he gets caught, his foot, you can see his foot slip upwards. And
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else has noticed it. So it didn't look to me like he was as hurt as people thought. His foot slipped and he had to try and catch his balance.
Oh, I thought he was hurt because I do know that in the middle of the ring where there was that signage. I remember at a couple of rounds where his foot was like he was on like doing the ice skating where you could clearly see this was the printing which was messing him up. But
Yeah,
because where his back was on the rope, I don't know if there was any signage around there like that what
there
made him
was.
slip.
I will.
Okay.
Check it again after the stream. Have another look. Just watch the feet. Don't watch the shot. Just see what you.
Yeah, I'll look at that's what because of that and that I gave him that rank because I remember I saw Clarissa Shields right. Oh, she had it 120, 108. I was like, oh come on now, baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I think 117, 111 is fair. I don't think 119, 109 is even 118, 112 maybe because what it is Cepeda was throwing a lot of shots, but even when you look at the replays, he's hitting pure gloves and arms. Shakur's catching them with arms, parry, boom, 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 boom. He's proper like moving like kata in Cobra Kai and no, sorry, Miyagi Do. He was proper Miyagi Do in him. I was like, right, he's been watching some of that 50 blocks from New York. I know he's from New Jersey down the road, but yeah, that was a very impressive performance. He even rocked Cepeda a few times with the headshots, knocking back a couple of the body shots there. So yeah, he's obviously sitting down his punches. His hands look fine. And yeah, I think that the Tom and Jerry thing where Turkey Al Sheikh, but really Shakur shouldn't take that to heart as him because that was really thrown at Devin Haney for Devin Haney's performance in New York where he stunk out the joint. So it's good that Shakur, I know he's like F you to everybody, but yeah, maybe he just thought I don't want to join this mouse trap slogan. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, man. Yeah, look, good stuff. Um, Hopefully he can get one of the big cats from 135 in the ring. This was the end of his matchroom deal. He had a 2-fight deal, obviously matchroom. Let's hope that maybe him and Eddie can re-up and sort of do something because ultimately I feel like this was sort of some of the best promotion that he's had. Since he started his career. Obviously, like the people in New Jersey and that know him very well, but I feel like in terms of even just a mouthpiece, someone to champion him and sing his praises and do that stuff. Eddie Hearn, I feel like him and Eddie Hearn just go well together. So yeah, I guess we'll wait and see what happens next with him. And Williams Zepeda, his stock hasn't gone down. If anything, it's slightly gone up. Even though he was majorly outclassed, he wasn't like dominated and made to look foolish and ultimately like stopped and just sort of had a just beat up right minute and minute after minute, round after round. So he'll be back. And the Mexican and the Mexican American fan base are very loyal to their people. As long as you give it your all in the ring, they don't care how many losses you take. So he'll be back.
Oh, one other thing, it was good to see Shakur Stevenson at the press conference start talking some Spanish, trying to get that Puerto Rican bit on par on side. I was like, look at this guy. So that was cool though. That was
Okay.
good.
Well, speaking of Puerto Ricans and getting them on par, well, they might have to go over to Shakur now because the quote unquote the Puerto Rican prince, the chosen one, the king of NY, got himself royally dispatched from the throne in spectacular and very embarrassing fashion. Danny, I'm gonna let you start off here because I've got a whole lot of diatribe to go. How did you see the fight?
A Puerto Rico! Oh, a Puerto Rico! Oh man, now I predicted that Edgar Berlanga was going to get stopped by Hamza Shiraz. The reason being, so shout out to Velika because I know he wanted to know why I predicted that because he thought that Berlanga was going to knock out Shiraz. Now, people going about Berlanga being this big puncher. It's kind of like this conversation we had the other day where people think a certain person is a puncher, but but I'm going to break that one down later on when it gets closer to that fight because I think this is similar to what happened here. People keep going about Edgar Berlanga being this puncher. 16 first round knockouts, and he's a big puncher, and he knocked out this fat looking person who just come out of jail the other day, and I was like. Yeah, I'm like, come on, that doesn't prove anything. Who are you knocking out? Who have you dropped? And then they're going on like, oh yeah, Hamza Shiraz is a boxer. He's a boxer with a little bit of pop, but he's skinny. I'm like, okay, all right. And they're like, he's a smaller man coming up. One thing I do know, people keep going, I don't know how he made weight 160. I don't know how he was making 154 before that because even now, it's not just he was towering over Berlanga. He looked like the bigger man because even when you look at Shiraz's legs, yeah, his arms might be thin, but he's built up his legs quite well, Hamza Shiraz. So the reason why I said Hamza was going to knock him out is a thing people seem to forget with Hamza Shiraz during that 15 knockout streak, which people are not weren't mentioning about Hamza. A lot of the time, he was dropping these people and wobbling these people with these jabs. Like he had this mad jab, which was just dropping guys. Leon Williams, um, Liam Williams, and Tyler Denny. He was hit, and there was someone else as well. He dropped a guy in Poland as well on the first Daniel Dubois Usyk fight. He dropped him with a jab. So he was dropping guys with jabs and hurting them and busting them up with a jab. So I thought straight away when he starts landing his jab, he's going to start hurting Berlanga first off. Then Berlanga has a habit of getting caught with overhand rights. He got dropped by Caceres with a chopping right and starts doing the beating of the chest like he's beast mode and all that. Then and I've just noticed with Steve Rolls. Steve Rolls was old and he was still clapping Edgar Berlanga with a lot of the shots, and Berlanga was quite fortunate to even get the decision on that one. So I thought when Hamza Shiraz chops one in on him, I don't really rate Berlanga's chin like that. But the difference is that when Canelo dropped Berlanga was Canelo ain't got finishing instincts no more. His finishing stuff is done. He's able to drop everybody, but he just can't finish them no more, and that's fine. He's had 67 fights, so that's cool. But when Hamza is young, fresh, and he's obviously upset with all the trolling, etc., he's going to go for the finish and he's going to deal with Berlanga. So yes, in the first round, I saw that they went for an exchange. Hamza Shiraz caught him with a left hook. The commentators didn't pick up on it, but I thought, oh, that left hook was kind of like what spun his head nearly 360 on its axis when Canelo Alvarez landed on him. But he managed to, weather it and use some experience and poker face it out. But then when it got to the third round now, and Hamza Shiraz chopped that right hand on him and then hit him with the hooks, he went down, beating his chest. I thought, oh, Hamza's going to finish him. Then Hamza Shiraz went in, put in another set of hooks, sent him crashing down to his face. How he was able to still beat his chest while he was proper out on the floor like that, I'll give him ratings. It's just instincts. But I was like, mate, you need to concentrate more on getting up on your feet, Sunshine, because you're in a world of trouble here. Like you're talking about, Shiraz, on Shiraz rice with pita bread, even though Pakistan don't even make pita bread, but cool. But you ended up as Spanish rice with Goya powder with a arepa bread on it, because that was embarrassing. Then you've just about got saved by the bell, like your name's Zach Morris. Then the fourth round, with 15 seconds in, you got clapped with a few more shots. Boom, chopping overhand right, which sent the spray, from your head, and you ended up on all fours like you was playing what's that thing? The thing with the dots on the mat.
Oh, a Twister.
Twister. Like you was playing Twister, and I ain't talking about the fast rapper. Fat Joe, he walked you out, but you ended up with bent knees like him at the end. So it just wasn't looking good. Where you go from, and it was lovely to see Hamza Shiraz chiefed him. He did, and then Berlanga, he knew he got chiefed, but he knew he couldn't do nothing. When he gave him it's gonna be all right, Sunshine. I know he was fuming. So all this, I'm the king of New York. You're gonna have to hit me with a truck. You think you can come to my city and take doing the whole Denzel Washington in Training Day speech? I was like, mate, I hope this humbles you, because you haven't won nothing. Your jewelry got exposed as being fake by Oscar De La Hoya. You got fake jewels. You got fake rep. You fake tough guy. And Oscar De La Hoya on the plane this morning, I was in stitches. Man was playing beatbox. He was going the whole 9 yards. And we ain't talking about Anthony. But, yeah, Edgar, you need to... This is a big fall from grace. You got smoked in your city by a so-called English buff, because that's another thing. Some Americans are still stuck in the 90s where they think this is Jeffrey from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, they think that it's some muffins and fish and chips out here. No, these guys can get it cracking. And them East London Pakistani boys, some of them are rude boys over there, So, yeah, you got smoked out. And, Hamza Shiraz, he's well back in ascendancy. Turki Al-Sheikh is very happy with his Muslim brother. He said he's going to get him a world title shot, etc., and big fights. So, yeah, it just shows you you're only Everyone remembers you for your last. You're only as good as your last fight. And Hamza Shiraz, he has more than proven his last fight is now this one. And big ups Hamza and Edgar. Get out of here, son.
Yeah, look, I mean, on one hand, I want to go off. I want to, but look, the only thing I'm gonna say, I feel like there's no real point going off because we all knew that Edgar Berlanga was trash to begin with, or at least I did. I've always maintained I thought he was trash, and and to be honest, this might have been a Keith Connolly stroke. So shout out to Keith Connolly because as a manager, that man is amazing for his fighters. He manages to get them in some positions they do not deserve at all. But the whole Matchroom, him signing with Matchroom, I literally thought the Eddie's whole game plan was sign Edgar Berlanga so you could feed him to Diego Pacheco, and somehow he managed to get hustled into 2-0 fights against what was it, McCrory, and
Jake McCrory.
yeah, Podrick McCrory, and what's the other guy? The other uh, was he another was he Scottish? Um,
Oh,
you know,
Quigley.
yeah, Quigley, Jason Quigley.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He managed to finesse those 2 fights, then get a Canelo fight, and then just leave before honoring obviously what I like I said what I think that Eddie and them was trying to do, which was to set up that fight with Pacheco. Um, and he managed to make some decent money in the last couple fights on top rank as well. So one thing I'll give him, he's a hustler. But all the talking, I would not be surprised, right? This guy is so delusional, and this is bear in mind. I'm not even talking about the fight because I think that the fight was self-explanatory, and you did a good job about that. But I wouldn't even be surprised if Edgar Berlanga, if his delusional self comes out and starts almost copying George Kambosos, talking about here's the art of war, like like you got you have that setback for a strong comeback. So it's like you just gotta watch my rise is gonna be something special, y'all. Like watch what I do next. He's gonna be on that flex. He's gonna be like, I ain't really lose, man. Like my hand was hurting, and like the ring walk, the crowd that couldn't really hear things. That it wasn't it was my night, but he was a bit sneaky with it. And I'm expecting to hear all kinds of bullshit like the king gonna come back, y'all. Don't worry. Like I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back, and y'all gonna see that Canelo thing. That wasn't just a one-off, man. I got y'all. I got you. It's gonna be something along those lines. I guarantee you, he's gonna come out with some crud talking about it's all part of God's plan. They wanted to humble me, but you can't humble the chosen one. That's my son's name. So so I gotta rep the chosen. I gotta rep the Puerto Ricans. All of that. It's gonna be everything. I guarantee you. That's there's not going to be no humbleness in him. There's going to be pure excuses and pure. Let me run it back. I need to run it back. Trust me.
No. Well, the delusion started whilst they was embracing when Hamza chiefed him. Before he chiefed him, he said, "Yeah, let's run it back. Let's run it back. Let's run it back."
See,
watch it. He said it 3 times. Let's run it
see,
back.
and obviously I'm on the streams. I can't even hear these things. I just had a feeling because the guy's crazy, mad delusional. Like it's and yeah, there's just gonna be bare excuses as to why he lost and that he never really lost. The ref stopped it. I was on my feet. Like, why did he stop the fight and all of that? It's gonna be everything. I almost can't wait for the first interview, but he gonna be quiet for a little while because he want to let the heat die down. Because obviously you get knocked down by this Brit that you say that European shit don't do nothing over here. Well, look now, all the stuff that literally all you're gonna get is just like a big highlight reel of him saying something and then getting beat up by the same thing that he was saying. Oh, like he too tall, he tailor made for me. The next thing you see, bang. Oh, like that UK shit that he got. That ain't nothing. Like that European style. Like we don't care about that over here. Bang bang on the floor, head plant, boom. I'm expecting to see all of it. Someone's gonna make the video, and I can't wait for it. And it's probably already on Twitter, so I'll go look for it later on. But yeah, look, long story short, the guy's shameless. I think that's the most. It's not even like the tough guy actor. I just think he's just shameless. He has no shame, and people like that are very scary. They're very scary, and they're also very dangerous because there's no limits they ain't willing to go to. And I guess for the name of a check, he gonna do whatever it takes to make that happen moving forward. So yeah, uh, that's just my thought on that. Hamza, amazing, brilliant. I'll give him all his props because he ate two big shots in the first round. I think it was one
Yeah,
was in the first round, one was in the second. One of them was a hook, and I think the other one was like a it might have been like a right cross, and but it caught him, and it caught him quite flush. He had the guard up, but it caught him. But the look on his face, it didn't change. His face stayed the same, stayed just that locked in, aggressive. Like, all right, watch. And then yeah, one thing I knew that he would control Edgar behind the jab, but when I said it would go points, I thought he might be a bit tentative to really wanna, go and like really sort of put it on there because knowing that okay, Berlanga he may have been fighting bums, but he's still got some power, and I don't want to take too many chances. So let me win this fight easily, but I can just bust him up. But I just thought Edgar might have a bit more resilience than that. Well, lo and behold, he didn't. And as I said on my video, like good riddance to not so necessarily bad rubbish, but to him. I know he's gonna be back. But the one good thing about him coming back, regardless of whatever shit he talks now, all of them big quote unquote paydays that he's talking about, yeah, those aren't gonna happen no more. You ain't getting none of those on there. You gotta earn those properly this time. No skipping the queue, going anywhere. The whole link with him and Fat Joe and the Terror Squad and all that nausea, and then Fat Joe, oh yeah, he the truth. I think if when Fat Joe endorses you, I've noticed a couple of times these endorsed fighters they turned out to not be the one, or something happens as soon as you say yeah that person nice. So maybe you want to stay away from Fat Joe, Remy Ma, and all of the dramas and the issues that surround that whole team at this point in time. I think Jada Kiss did the right thing by not coming out for for that performance. Um,
mm,
but yeah, look, like I said, big shout out to Hamza Shiraz. Very, sort of very nice, humble guy. Spoke to him a couple times, not on camera, but yeah, cool guy. Uh, obviously we now forgive him for the Bradley Skeet thing. It was touch and go for a while. He was sticking up for the South London man, them, and that was dirty, that was raw. But he's born again, so we absolve him of those sins, and yeah, good stuff moving forward. I did see that Carlos Adames says, Turkey, no, don't talk about Canelo. I'll come up to 168. He's got to see me again. Like, he robbed me of a victory. So, and I saw Carlos says, yeah, he's like, I'm his father. Like, let's run it back at 168. So, I mean, look, I don't know if Carlos is just, he's just having fun with it, but I wouldn't mind seeing it again, seeing if the quote unquote, the weight and the hand was the real issues why you couldn't perform in that fight. Yeah, run it back.
yeah. And one thing I would like to will be interesting for Edgar Berlanga going forward is what's going to happen with him promotional deal wise because he's been a bit snaky and crafty, thinking he can always go on to the next Jawn and rinse them. Now the word is out on him. It's going to be very shaky for him to strike a deal and get the prices he wants. As you said, them big purses he was crying out, I need 10 mil for this and I need that mil for that. He ain't going to be able to get that going forward.
Mate, the only person who probably sign him right now is Dimitri Salita, and Salita ain't got no money like that. So, like, he better pray that Keith better start working overtime to try and just get him one-off fights. And he literally might just end up being that gatekeeper right now. You like he's just the guy that goes in against the next leading prospect, make a bit of decent money, but that will be pretty much it there. So, yeah, like I said, shout out to Hamza. Um, Ed got all the stuff that you've been saying, or hopefully, like don't write checks that you can't cash. Well, we'll see what happens next. But with that being said, look, we spent the first, obviously, rightfully so, on the the Ring Free card. We've got to now go to Netflix. Um, this was an amazing moment for women's boxing having this all female card. Obviously, it's not the very first one that's taken place. This is the third one now, but this is the only one that's actually nothing but 50-50 fights from top to bottom. As the other two, which were done by a boxer, salute to them, were not so. There was a couple of competitive matches and then loads of building fights for prospects. Um, with this one, let's go through. Actually, no, let's talk about Katie and Amanda first, because I feel like if we go from if we can maybe just talk a touch on some of the undercard fights afterwards.
Yeah.
Um, again, so if anyone watched my prediction video for this, my prediction was I actually think Katie Taylor's gonna win. I even think she's gonna win or look a lot clearer than she did even in the first two, but she's not going to get the decision. I was dead certain that they was going to try and rob her, and everything in the lead up suggested that they would do something underhanded to show any kind of consideration that they could to Amanda Serrano. And that's not saying that Serrano was not capable of doing so, but I feel like her best chances is what happened in those first two fights. And I think that maybe Katie Taylor and the team, obviously being as slick as they are, being as as world class, elite, and strong IQs, they probably thought that what, if we get into a tear up, if I manage to get myself into a tear up, even if I win the exchanges like I did in the first two, she's going to be landing, and they're going to give her those opportunities. And I think that she thought the only way I can guarantee that I win this fight and with no controversy is to literally create so much separation that you can't argue. And that's what she did. Funnily enough, and my scorecard, there was a couple of rounds I scored where maybe I was counting some stuff that Amanda did, which other people weren't. But I gave them to Amanda. One of them in particular, I think it was the eighth round, I gave to Amanda. But on the broadcast, and shout out to Emma if she's in the chat, Emma Willis, she gave it to Katie, and a couple other people gave it to Katie. So I'm like, oh, did I maybe get that one round there wrong? And I haven't gone back to watch it, but my final scorecard at the end was 96-95 to Katie, with obviously the first round being a draw round because both ladies landed one punch in the fight in that round, and nothing else really happened. But then I had it, I think I had it 4-1 to Katie going into the fifth. I mean, no, I had it, sorry, 3-1 and 1. So 3 to Katie, 1 to Amanda, and 1 even after the fifth. Then in round 6, I gave round 6 to Amanda. I gave round. No, sorry, I gave round 6 to Katie. I gave rounds 7 and 8 to Amanda. I gave round 9 to Katie. Then I gave round 10 to Amanda. But that eighth round is potentially one where maybe I got it wrong, or possibly even the seventh. I'm not sure. But yeah, look, I felt it was much clearer, even though I actually gave Katie more of rounds in the first two fights. I gave her 7 rounds to 3 in both of those. In this one, Amanda got an extra one. But yeah, Katie just she said no, we're not. I like the way that she'd been saying in the build up. You don't get to dictate the terms of this fight. Like, I'm the champion. So even in the way the fight played out, she's like, you don't get to set your feet and throw your shots. No, you're gonna move. You're gonna move those heavy feet every moment and see if you can land something hard. And at no point was she able to do so. And that was one thing I said in my breakdown of the video. Like, Amanda, she's two things that she can't do, which is why a lot of the time, unless Katie literally just stands in front of her and trades, she's gonna have problems. She can't cut the ring. She can't punch while moving either because there's no power there, and also she's got no head movement. If she had more head movement, she'd be able to actually offset some of those flurries that Katie throws and would be able to get on the inside and work away. But because she doesn't, she ends up getting caught with 1, 2, and 3 shots, and they're shots where, because she can't move her head and roll with the shot, it almost looks like triple the impact has landed, and like it torts her body and it whips her head, and it makes it so plain and obvious that she's been caught with a clean one. Whereas when she throws a lot of shots at Katie, more time than not, she's able to either dip forward or to try to move to the side or to try to angle out, so it doesn't always show the same level of impact. But in this fight, there wasn't even any need for that. Katie just She showed the levels between the two of them just from natural boxing skills. She had a lot against her in this, in terms of, it being a catch weight, 136 pounds, her having to be announced second or ring walk second, although I think that they changed that at the end, and stuff like that. There was just a lot of things there, her being on the B side of the podium in all the press conferences and all of that stuff. But she said, all right, cool, we do all of that. It back in America for the third time. Bear in mind, Katie was the same way that D-Star was talking about Chantel Cameron, and that she deserves to have one in London because obviously she beat Katie. Well, bear in mind, Katie beat Amanda twice, and all three of the fights have been in the States. Like, the one time Amanda was supposed to go to Ireland, she mysteriously got an injury, and that fight ended up getting called off. Hence why Chantel Cameron managed to go over and get that victory in the first place. So, ultimately, Katie's acquiesced to almost everything that she demanded, and she just drew the line at saying, "No, we're not going to do the 3 minute rounds. Not because I don't want to do it, because I don't mind doing the 3 minute rounds, but I don't want to lose a belt in order to do that." And the WBC belt was at jeopardy. They wouldn't allow her to do it. They wouldn't sanction it. So she said no. And obviously, Amanda dropped her WBC belt at featherweight because of that. But I also think it was because she just didn't want to fight Sky Nicholson, if we're going to be honest. But yeah, that was, Katie said, "Well, I'm not prepared to drop my belt. I worked too hard for this belt to just let it go." And as much as Amanda was complaining in the build up, saying, "Well, look, why you shouldn't have shook my hand if you didn't want to do it, etc., etc." Okay, cool, but guess what? You talk about, and don't get me wrong, I say all this like I don't dislike Amanda Serrano. I think she's great for women's boxing. I think she's a cool person, but I also can acknowledge that she does have some very New York, Brooklyn things about her as well, and but she just hides them very well. Because she talks about empowerment for women and wanting to be the platform and show the women to thrive, etc. She ain't fought at featherweight in damn near 3 years and still holds two belts down there. Why haven't you released those so that other people can get the opportunities you've been talking that you're trying to provide? Now you're saying, okay, well, I'm going to continue my career. I'm going to finally go back down to my weight and I'm going to stay there. Okay, so now you've, again, these two belts. Some other young up and comers could have been fighting for these and making a bit more money, but you held on to them even though you've had your last four fights have been up at 135 and 140 pounds. So my little rant over on that. But yeah, look, overall, Katie just did what she needed to do. She showed the levels in class, and she showed why she's was that Olympic gold medalist. Uh, Amanda was very selective in obviously taking fights that she knew even if she lost those fights, it wouldn't damage her legacy, because there's always a narrative. Oh, I went up 2 weight divisions, went up 3 weight divisions. It's your terms. I wanted 3 minutes, you didn't, etc., etc. Headbutts. But we can lay it to rest now. We don't need to see any more of it. It was brilliant the first two times. The last time it wasn't brilliant, but it was definitive. That's how you leave it. 3-0. Katie Taylor, greatest woman boxer of all time. No arguments. There's no one that can really dispute it. Whether you think she got gifted some of her wins or not, she had the fights that other people have been scared to take. And that even goes to some of the women back in the day as well. There was a few of them that didn't take certain fights they were supposed to. So yeah, big up Katie Taylor. Island Zone, done the women proud, done herself proud, and I like the fact she's even doing a little bit of shit talking now, especially when it came to Chantel Cameron. So yeah, big ups to her. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, what my thought is that Katie Taylor was very smart in this fight. She brought it back to the amateur days, slowed it right down, and made it a technical fight. Because I thought the same thing. I think she had in her head, if we go into this firefight of all guns blazing with the crowd roaring, all it needs is the crowd just to be roaring for exchanges, and they're going to be giving these rounds a lot of the time to Amanda Serrano, especially as the first two times it was rounds where Amanda Serrano did hurt Katie, usually around that fifth round where she's sort of hanging on and clutching. She's thinking, I don't need none of these rounds where I'm looking like I'm having a stakeout. I'm going to keep it nice and steady. Let's just have a nice, good old fashioned boxing match. Take it back to my Olympic pedigree, something which Amanda Serrano is not on her level on when it comes to amateur style boxing. So she made it a lot more definitive. Amanda was not able to box with her. Anytime Amanda thought, oh, let me try and jump in, Katie just threw a little cluster, and just jumped off rather than trying to fight fire with fire like she's treading in water. She just moved off and then just kept it back to the basic boxing, and Amanda was not able to hang with her at the end of the day. Um, and yeah, maybe Amanda thought that she was going to get given some graces. It didn't really help Amanda in her efforts to maybe try and cut the ring off because she was in these Nike Dunks, which was not very boxing friendly. So, and funny enough, it was my wife who clocked that. She was like, "Oh, those ain't boxing boots, are they? They look like Dunks." I was like, "Yeah, they are." So, shout out to Mrs. Aficionado. So, yeah, and so yeah, I just thought, and yeah, 3-0. Amanda Serrano, she does have those underhanded things, New Yorker, Puerto Rican. She says a lot of little sly things to people like Clarissa Shields. Some people, the FBA contingency will think, oh, maybe you're showing some hate there for the FBA sister. But some people, what is they let people like they let Amanda Serrano get away with saying certain things because they want a bit of exotic cooch. They got a little crush on her. They think she's buff. I don't personally think she is. To me, I think Katie Taylor actually looks younger than her, even though she's 3 years older than Amanda Serrano. But Katie doesn't look her age. She don't look 39 years old. She sounds like she's got a bee in her throat when she talks, but she looks young for her age. So whatever skincare routine she's using, well done to her. But yeah, Amanda, she's gonna go down to feather, but I'm sure there's people out there waiting for her. Even the young Caroline Dubois, I think she was calling out Amanda Serrano, even though you don't be calling out auntie now. Come on, come on. But yeah, I think well done to Katie. Eddie Hearn's proud of her, and she's done Ireland proud. And it would be good to see her just do one little Croke Park one and then sail off into the sunset, maybe against Chantel Cameron, or who knows. But with the greatest female of all time, yeah, I guess it's out of her and Lucia Riker, out of who's the best woman of all time. But yeah, man, big ups to Katie Taylor each and every time.
Well, funny enough, just before we move on from this and just get to the sort of the rest of the card, I actually did say on my weekend wrap that I know that one of the things they've been talking about is that the Croke Park thing is like it's very expensive to book, and basically they know, or the chances were that unless they got major sponsorship or someone to part fund it, they was going to lose a lot of money on doing the show. But I basically said on there is like, look, if it's a final fight, if it's a farewell fight, like she's been a loyal servant to Matchroom, she's championed the brand, she's been like she's pioneered women's boxing, basically put it on her back. It's her. I mean, look, Amanda's done her bit, Clarissa's done her bit, but the reason women's boxing is even looking how it's looking now is because Katie Taylor, like, first of all, got it in the Olympics to begin with, and then outside of that, just did just basically took the fights, made those hard fights, those hard grafts. She's earned that Croke Park fight. And look, Matchroom ain't short of a few quid. Like they're not in any danger of like bankruptcy, liquidation, anything like that. If it's you might take haircuts on some other shows and that, but you clearly make the money back elsewhere. If you're ever gonna lose some money in good faith, the same thing that Frank Warren used to do from time to time, this is the one to do it. Like Katie
Mm-hmm.
Taylor deserves that. If you also, what if you end up losing, say, £1 million or whatever? Like you can write that off throughout the rest of the business quite comfortably. Like the business is near, from what I heard, I swear it's valued at nearly like £1 billion, like the entire Matchroom business, like in terms of its assets and whatnot. I could be a bit wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure the last time I saw they was extremely successful. So
Yeah,
whatever you're gonna lose on that fight, I don't think that's worth more than not giving sort of like one of your best servants ever to your platform the opportunity to have that sort of that last farewell homecoming fight in the big arena. Which, bear in mind, like you're gonna make some decent money there. Even if you were to lose, you ain't gonna lose that much because it's a big 70,000+ seater venue
stadium.
and
Yeah,
stadium. Yeah, so just take the hit, let her have that last homecoming fight. She deserves it, and it would be a good gesture. But
yeah,
obviously, I'm not the money man. It's not my money. I get it, but that's how I feel.
yeah. I think because remember you've heard Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum and Frank talk about other fighters. I've lost money on them. So I think you've lost money on worse fighters than Katie Taylor. So if anyone's you lose a bit of money and do some, if you want to call it charity work or whatever, I think she's earned her right to make you lose some money, some bread on it. And I think you'll sell it out anyway with her. You put the right undercard on there. Listen, a great idea is just coming to my head. If you put Katie Taylor in there, and then you stick now Paddy Donovan versus Croker for the world title. Listen, you're quids in, surely. So you put the right card, you're gonna be all right, I believe. So yeah, I think Katie deserves it because even I've boxed at Croke Park. Obviously, it wasn't in the stadium. It was in one of them conference rooms inside the stadium. But I've boxed at Croke Park, I can say. But yeah, against St Saviour's. But yeah, man, I think she deserves it.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's kind of go through. Maybe not in necessarily the order, but we'll just talk about the other fights on the undercard. The ones I guess let's talk about mainly will be the three where I believe there was huge controversy, and there's no better way to start than the one which had a title on the line between Savannah Marshall and Shadesha Green. Shadesha Green was given a decision, split decision. We've spoken about this a little bit just through WhatsApp in the boxing group. I wasn't scoring this. I scored the fight, but like I wasn't like hardcore on it because of the time of night, obviously everything. So there may have been a couple of rounds where I was like, okay, I've got it this way, but maybe not. However, um, ultimately, Shadesha Green got the decision. She got the decision via split decision, and the scorecards is what sort of annoyed me. One of them was 95-94 with a point deduction that she had. So, okay, 6 rounds to 4. I couldn't see it, but fair enough, I let it go. Savannah Marshall then had a 96-93 scorecard, which is obviously 6 rounds to 4 her way, which I definitely could see because I had it more in that vein. And then the last scorecard for Shadesha Green was 96-93 on her side, which basically is 7 rounds to 3, which is saying that Savannah Marshall only won 3 rounds in the fight, which I think is ludicrous because I think absolute minimum, I had it 95-94 to Savannah, but the 5 rounds I gave Savannah, I think that she won those rounds quite conclusively. I don't think there was any argument with those 5 rounds. If you want to say one of those generously, you might say could have been a swing, and then you swung it the other way to Shadesha, as she is, the main MVP fighter and stuff. Okay, cool. Maybe you get one out of there, but not two. So I had big issues with scorecards. To me, it's the second time in 2 fights that Shadesha Green, for me, has been gifted a decision. I'm not going to say this one was a robbery, not like the last one. The Melinda Watpool fight was a big robbery. This one wasn't as bad, but I think it was that one scorecard that made it seem way worse, in my opinion. But I'll let you talk about the fight, sort of how you saw it, and sort of what your thoughts are, both ladies, moving forward.
Yeah. So first off, I remember I used to pose this question on the penultimate round on the neutral corner, Savannah Shadesha, and I always thought that Shadesha would take out Savannah. I did put that in my bet slip. Um, but then when I noticed on the ring walk and then during the ring announcement, Savannah Marshall looked very confident, and Shadesha Green, for the first time I've seen, she looked very nervous during the ring announcement. I was like, oh, she seemed a bit scared here, or very nervous. And in the first round, she was moving nervous, the way, she's walking around. I'm like, oh. Then she's holding a lot. Gave the first round to Savannah Marshall. I gave the second round to Shadesha Green, who was doing better, but she got that hard warning for not letting go when the ref was saying break. Then in the fourth round, she got a point off, which I didn't think was necessary because they was clinching, but it wasn't like a holding like what she'd actually been sort of reprimanded for 2 rounds prior. So she was upset about that. So I thought that was a bit unnecessary, and the ref was a bit on her case throughout the night. But then when she
So,
landed,
just before you carry on, apologies. I know I don't normally cut you off. I can tell you why the ref was on her case, and she told us in the post-fight press conference. I don't know if you watched it, but she basically said that it was her fault. One time, I think it was maybe in the second or the third round, she caught Savannah. She was trying to get to Savannah, and the referee's trying to separate them, and she said that she slapped his hand away while he was trying to. And she goes, "That was unprofessional on my part," and I think he was on me from that. So I feel like after the hard warning, she's done that, and then he's like, "Okay, cool. So now you're not getting any more grace from me if you're gonna put your hands on me." So yeah,
Okay, I didn't hear that bit in the post-fight interview, but that makes sense now.
it was in
Um,
the post fight press conference, not the actual interview after the.
no, 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 yeah, no, not the one in the ring. I saw because I did see one in the post-fight press conference where
Yeah,
because
that's what she said. It.
okay, yeah, I didn't hear that section. Maybe I didn't. I saw a shorter version of it. I didn't watch the full thing because I remember someone asking about silk sheets and stuff like that after. And she was saying, "Oh, well, maybe, etc., etc." But yeah, that makes sense then because then and in the sorry and in the fourth round as well, Savannah Marshall did catch um, Shadesha with a good right hand, which made Shadesha sort of buckle, and then Savannah was like, "Oh!" Like she got all excited. So then in the fifth round, when Shadesha's now caught Savannah with a big shot, and Savannah's wobbled for the first time I've seen in her career, like properly. And then obviously Shadesha's like, "Oh, all right," and then she's going in and in. Um, and Savannah's managed to sort of get through that round, but she was definitely on shaky legs, backed up in the corner. She even admitted afterwards she's never been hit like that in her life. I know that Clarissa Shields hit her with some good shots, but it was more flustered, and Clarissa does hit hard, so Savannah did feel him, but it was more flustered the way Clarissa was able to throw a uh, volume volley at her, which she was surprised about, especially in the first round when she just let loose. But yeah, Shadesha's definitely got them bricks in the hand. So then Savannah, then next couple of rounds, definitely through the mid rounds, I gave them to Shadesha. There was one late on I gave Savannah, and then in the last round definitely was Shadesha Green. I had it 95-94 to Shadesha. Definitely 96-93. No way. There was no 7 rounds to 3. Where even Savannah said afterwards, I'm not saying I won, but come on. She thought it was like 98-92. She was like, "To only give me 2 rounds. To only give me 2 rounds. Come on now." So yeah, that the scorecards was a bit mad there. But yeah, well done to Shadesha Green. I know she wants Clarissa Shields next. Franchon Cruz is on Twitter saying, "Hey, I'm the one who's had to make her rethink her life. She needs to be looking back at me." And then people are like, "Yeah, but you were just hugging her like a bear. Like we don't want to see that fight again. You that was a stinker." So yeah, well done to Shadesha Green. She's made it happen. She said she started boxing at 15 years old. Um, she had to go to uni and graduate before her mum let her start boxing again. So she had to stop boxing for a few years, and her coach waited on her. So yeah, it's a great story. She's from where's she from again? She's from New Jersey as well. So yeah, another one from the Jersey City. So shout out to the NJs. So yeah, big ups.
All right. Now, sticking on the topic of controversial decisions, I don't think there's any way you can go anywhere other than Ramla Ali and Lila Furtado on the prelims. I didn't obviously see it initially, like on the live. I was actually having a nap because I wanted to make sure I was kind of fresh for the for the actual proper broadcast. But I watched it back sort of while I was in the broadcast along with Emma, and then I watched it later on. I watched it earlier on yesterday as well, and yeah, the fact that Ramla Ali got given that decision, I I mean, look, that has to be nothing more than partiality, like the home cooking, because I think it came in coincided with the fact that they just signed Ebony Bridges. I think that's part of the reason why. So they're trying to build this 118 stable, like 118s to 122s, where they can all sort of interact, but they got to get them, so they got to have the wins and whatnot. And you know what? Respect to Ariel Hawani for saying, "Look, can I be honest? I don't believe that you won that fight. It's not to take away from your performance, but and you know what? I will say not congrats, but Ramla, she took that gracefully. I will give her that. Fair play to you for actually giving me your honest opinion that etc., etc. But she didn't win that fight. She got out hustled, especially after like round two. Um, there's an argument that maybe she could manage to get maybe the third. She definitely got like the first round and the second round. But after that, I think it was quite clear to Leela. And the same way that she got the 78-74 card, which is basically 6 rounds to two, and then obviously the 5 rounds to three. I think both of those scorecards were more representative of Leela Furtado than they were for her. She hasn't, to be honest, for me, she hasn't looked good in the last 4 fights. Ever since she got knocked out by is it Bustos? Um, ever since that fight there, I don't feel that I don't even think she was really doing or setting the world alight before that fight. To be honest, but um, yeah, I just don't know. It doesn't feel. It feels like whatever was there is no longer there. With her also being 35, it was Guzman, Jaleesa
Yeah,
Guzman. That
Julissa Guzman. Yeah,
is like I don't think there's whatever's there is gonna. It's not gonna get better. Like I said, she's 35 now, turning 36. Like she is now who she's going to be. There's nothing else that she's gonna be able to add to her game. I just think that the dreams that they had, or the dreams that she had for herself, maybe there was too many other distractions away from the ring, the modeling and all that stuff. Which are fair play to you, but yeah, I think with her now it's literally almost high level or high value gatekeeper settings. That's legitimately how I feel, and I don't take any pleasure in saying that. Um, what did you think of that fight and that situation?
yeah. Now this one we definitely are in agreement with. Whereas the last one we had it 95, 94 either way, which is cool. It's a close fight, whatever. But this one was a robbery. Um, Furtado definitely won the fight. I had it 6-2 to her. How she got 6-2 in her favor, I don't know. I know she's the MVP house fighter. I know she does modeling, but come on, you've got to score fights fairly, and it just ruins the stock. You're trying to build with the women's brand, and the last thing you need is um, robbery decisions and people getting stitched up, and then it dampens their brand because it's hard enough for these women as it is to try and make a name. And then Furtado should be spoken about today but forgotten about tomorrow, unfortunately. So you got to do. The judges have got to do better at the end of the day. I agree that she hasn't been the same since she got knocked out by Julissa Guzman, and she's 35 now, so she might be sort of tailing down, slowing up. She doesn't have power. She's able to get outworked and bullied in a lot of these weights, even when she moves up a weight, etc. And yeah, she might need to think about just winding it down a bit. Yeah, Ariel Arawande, I wasn't really feeling him doing that because it's cool you saying that to Ramla. Oh yeah, to be honest, I don't think you won the fight, but I haven't seen. I want to see him do that to a male. Not say, oh, do you think you won the fight, or how do you think you saw it? Do you think you won it? I want you to say, I don't think you won. I think you lost. Because this is why people like Carl Froch have a little gripe with him because he's a bit. If you're doing that and you're making it one way and one gender, then it's a bit weaselish where you're able to say it to one person, but you wouldn't dare say it to someone like if you felt Jaya Pattaya lost, would you say, do you know what? I think you lost, You'd be shook, you'd be bricking it. You would say that to Terence Crawford? No. Would you say it? You wouldn't even say it to Canelo. So weren't really feeling that. There's ways of saying it without saying it. Just asking someone, how do you feel? Do you think you won it or not? But either way, she lost the fight. And
I
yeah.
think it's maybe because of how blatant of a loss it was, but I don't. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that I have heard Ariel Hawani say to other people I before that I think you were lucky to get that to get that decision. I'd have to go back and check. If it is
Yes.
just obviously like on this one occasion, then cool, I get it. Like that's a bit as maybe, yeah, you say, oh, because you know that they can't do anything to you. But I don't know if I would necessarily say that is the way that they look at it. And
Mm.
Chelsea are just battering PSG 3-0. Wow. Um, yeah. So all right. Another fight which maybe not as controversial, although I think that the scorecards were atrocious, as Alicia Baumgardner versus Jennifer Miranda. Now, I actually scored, I thought Miranda won the fight, if I'm
Do
totally
you?
honest. Yeah, I thought she won the fight 94-96.
Oh,
And this is coming from obviously like a big Alicia fan, supporter, and all of that. But she just didn't get, like, she couldn't get the distance with the jab. Every time she was trying for single shots and counter shots, it just wasn't working. Miranda was landing her jab pretty much at will. The way that she, the off key, not the off key, I would say the unconventional movement and stance and everything she was throwing up, I think was just confusing Elisa, who just didn't have really much time to adjust. She started to do a lot better when she threw kind of more combinations towards the second half of the fight. Um, but even then, she was getting caught clean in almost all those exchanges. Even the exchanges that she was succeeding in, she was still getting caught very clean with a very leaky defense, probably a bit more leaky than I've actually seen. And that is, and maybe I shouldn't, but that's now called me into question about Derek James, because this is another person that's now gone with Derek James, and all of a sudden they ain't looking the way that they used to be or how they should be looking. Maybe the stage was too bright for her. Maybe she froze on the big stage. Uh, there's a lot of things that maybes and shoulda, woulda, couldas, but ultimately, I feel like she was, because she is, the new, I guess, the a new face of women's boxing. A beautiful woman that's can fight, can bang, can actually knock people out, and all of that stuff. I think that obviously you give her the considerations because she's definitely a face of a brand moving forward. But yeah, I thought that she got outworked in a lot of the rounds. Didn't get hurt, but I thought she got outworked. And to see scorecards of 98, 92, and then I think 97, 93 was the other one.
yeah.
Yeah, those, to me, that was not the fight I saw. So yeah, my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, the scorecards, no way you can give Miranda just 2 rounds because I think Alicia Baumgardner underestimated her. I think she's also fallen in love with the power, the razzmatazz. I think she spent too much. I think she was more focused on how grand and fly her ring entrance was going to be, rather than taking this opponent seriously. But I think she should have, because I thought, oh, this woman might be a bit tougher than Alicia realizes. When at the was it the press conference or the weigh-in? Sorry, the weigh-in, where Alicia's went up to her, tried to do the push, and the woman's gone, all right, and just pushed it, and Alicia went back, but Alicia felt the power where she thought, oh, I don't really want to rough and tumble with this one like I was doing with Michaela Mayer and some of these other ones, because this woman feels a bit stronger than I'm a bit used to. And then even when you look in the ring, she's got like a broad back, muscles on. Like the woman was definitely in shape, like proper shape, the Spaniard. Um, and the jab was working for her. And but that's a thing that's always been a bit of a kryptonite for Alicia. She gets caught with jabs a lot. I noticed in a lot of her fights, she's able to get caught with jabs quite easily. But this one was a lot more easily, especially in the exchanges, as you said. Even when she's getting success and even winning the exchanges, she's still getting caught in them. And because Miranda does that thing where she sort of switches stance mid firing combinations or squares up her feet, it is an odd way of fighting, but it's very effective. And Alicia was struggling. I know the first round she landed a couple of good shots, and then Derek James, they spoke about, oh, if you feel comfortable just go in and get her then. But I thought maybe you're going in a bit too early looking for these power shots. This isn't someone knee braced up like Delphine Persoon who's just going to stand there and let you tee off on her. Um, and Miranda, she was, she had very good boxing skills. Only one KO on her record, but that shows you for all her wins, that means she's a very competent boxer. Spanish, and also the Spanish fighters, when you even look at the male ones, Garcia and oh, I forgot the other one, but it's a few of them where they've come over and they've done
Or
a very
Sandor Martin.
yeah, Sandor Marti, they've done a number on the Brits and stuff like that, and they've accounted themselves very well on the international stage. So that they can box. So yeah, I think it was a very close fight. I can see when you're saying you think she lost. I think that she did win, but just about. The last couple of rounds where she finally did start going to the body and putting the combinations to the body, then going up top, which she should have started from way earlier rather than looking for these one hitter quitters and trying to fire these wild combinations out of nowhere. It's not. It was a bit aimless. I just think, yeah, she got lucky there, and it wasn't a good performance in my opinion. And I think she just about scraped through it. Then she did also a bit strangely as well. Her arms looked a lot skinnier than usual. I know normally, I know she's trimmed it down a bit, but I don't know. It just looked a bit. I don't know. Something just didn't look right with her.
Yeah, I mean, that's a discussion maybe for not being on the platform. But yeah, I hear you. Um,
But she definitely got pretty privileges on them scorecards. That's a fact.
yeah, I think we can agree on that. But okay, well, look, it'll be good, nice to see what she gets next. She said that she wants a Katie Taylor fight, which she won't get. But she did also say that she's willing to have a fight with Caroline Dubois. So we'll see. She said that she's willing to go for anyone at the 135 division. You never know. She might try and she might try and go after Jennifer Hahn. She might try and go after her old mate. Oh, what's her name?
Michaela
Why?
Mayo.
No, why is it gone out of my head? Britt was with Steffi Ball, Terry Harper. She
Oh,
might try and have a little rematch with Terry Harper at 135 for a belt. Uh, I feel like she hasn't really got much else to do at 130 unless it's just to take on challenges from people coming up. Um, but yeah, well, I guess we'll wait and see. So shout out to her. And then a brief one. I don't want to talk too much on this one, but big shout out to our Blueborough compatriot, Miss Ellie Scottney, Miss Ellie Three Belts, as we're gonna call her. Well, technically, no, it's Ellie Four Belts because she got the Ring Magazine belt as well. She needs one more to complete the undisputed set. But yeah, look, it was a great performance from her against Yemi Mercado. I felt that Yemi should have just, if she had have went forward a bit more and tried to just employ more pressure, I feel that she would have won more rounds. Because at the times when Ellie caught her with shots and she got buzzed, and then she just came storming back. I think those are the rounds that she managed to have the success in. And I feel if she'd have done more of that, she maybe could have made it even more competitive or possibly got more rounds on the card. But Ellie doing what Ellie does, she made it look easy when she wanted to, but just it's that blue borough thing. Sometimes you just can't avoid the scrap, no matter how hard you try. You're like, okay, I want to step away from this. I want diplomacy, but then it's ingrained in a lot of us still. So she's definitely got that. But she got Catford on her back. Congratulations to her. Just any words you want to say about that?
yeah, no, very dominant performance by Ellie Scottney. Landed some big shots, big hooks. It's funny some of the exchanges in the corner when after she got cut, she was closing her eyes. Shane gave her some water. She didn't realize there was no bucket in front of her. She spat the water in his face, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." Like she's very expressive in the corner, a lot of talking, but yeah, very dominant performance. If there was a couple more rounds, if it was like a 12-2, I think she may have been able to have got Mercado out of there because she was rocking and rolling towards the last couple of rounds there. And yeah, I think that maybe Ellie should have got that 250 grand bonus over Shadesha Green because I thought she had the performance of the night out of all of them. And funny enough, sorry, but last thing about the Shadesha Green thing, I did notice as well when she Savannah was holding her and she sort of matadored her way out, and then the ref was onto her like, yeah, no, pushing off and doing that thing where you turn a ball matador him, and then even Andre Ward was like, hold on. So you get a point off because you're saying no holding, but then when I'm trying to get out of a clinch and getting someone off onto the side, now I can't do that. So which one is it? But yeah, no, back to Ellie. Big up, shout outs to her. Got the three belts now, doing absolutely wonderful things for Southeast London and the Lynn AC. And yeah, I just can't wait for the Undisputed. And I'm glad she's got this deal. I know she's making some serious bank. So yeah, she's setting herself up for life. And yeah, onwards and upwards. Big up.
Well, it's funny you talk about the performance bonus. Ellie did have a great performance. I'm not going to deny that, and it was really good. And but she also is, to me, one of the best technical boxers in the women's code anyway, like naturally gifted and all that stuff. So she was, I guess, a level above Jamie Left Mercado in that sense. But she did get caught a couple times. She did, head, whether it's head clashes or whatnot, but she left with some damage there. So I don't know if that was necessarily the fight and that performance of the night. For me personally, the performance of the night is a person that she beat for her first world title with Shanika Johnson, because
Oh,
Shanika, let's not forget, she's the only she's only one of two women on that card that actually got a knockout or got a stoppage.
yeah,
Like
the other
she
one was
stopped,
that first fight on the card, isn't it?
yeah, Tam Thibault and
Yeah.
Mary Casamasso, which we'll just get to that in a moment. But um, look, like Shanika, she put a beating on Sharita Metcalf, and to a degree, like I didn't necessarily want to see that because I'm, you know quite well. I'm friends with Sharita's coach, Coach Christine. We do multiple shows together from time to time. I've spoken to Sharita before, not I guess not vocally, but through the Twitter and stuff. She's cool, so I'm cool with that whole entire team. But me and Christine did have a bet on, and initially when it was Dina Thorsland, that Dina Thorsland would win that fight. And then ultimately, when it became Shanika transferred. The bet got transferred over. At that time, I literally just thought the bet was null and void. But you know, Christine's like, "Oh, so we still betting, huh?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, cool." But I still think it'll be the same thing. I think Shanika's gonna beat her as well. But I thought it'd be a points thing. I didn't think that Shanika would beat the brakes off of her round after round after round. Like to me, maybe the first round, possibly, but like Sharia didn't win a round in the fight. That was to me the dominant performance of the night. Not only was it you was fighting someone who's supposed to be of a similar level to you, but it was also an undisputed fight, and you got the stoppage in a code that doesn't get a lot of stoppages. I felt that was reason enough for her to get that to get that win bonus. But
Mm.
but with that being said, look, whether she got it or not, it doesn't matter. She got the belts, which is what she wanted, and on short notice. Because remember, she got drafted. She only got drafted in like 5 weeks before the fight. So yeah, first ever, and they're crowning her as the first ever Australian undisputed champion. So obviously they're throwing shade at George Kambosos, which is correct anyway, because he was never undisputed. But even though technically she's not even Australian, she's from New Zealand. But I'm sure she doesn't mind. I guess the Americans don't really know about New Zealand, so
Mm.
she's quite happy for them to market her as being from Australia, since that's where she lives anyway. Yeah, look, just congratulations to her. Just it was a very dominant performance. It was, I thought she would win, but I didn't think she would win in such a dominant fashion. So she impressed me. I've always been a Sugar Neeks fan, even before the Ellie Scotney fight, which is one of the reasons I actually didn't want that fight to happen. I don't like it when two people I like fight each other, especially in the women's code. But yeah, it had to happen. She lost that, but she's bounced back. Two defeats on the record, but she proved that you keep grafting, you keep hustling, and anything's possible. Now she's undisputed. Um, full disclosure, I don't think she will stay undisputed, because whether it's when Dina Forsland comes back or whether it's some of the girls from 118 coming up. I mean, from 115, sorry, coming up to 118. There's a lot of jeopardy there. But I think she's also said that she's looking to move back to 122 at some point. So I guess maybe if Ellie goes undisputed and vacates all those belts, she can go and claim then. Or if she can hold on to belts long enough, maybe if Ellie gets the last belt, then they can do an undisputed versus undisputed rematch and see and run it that way. But yeah, look, it'll be interesting. Either way, but congrats to her. Any thoughts on that fight before we just talk about Tam quickly?
Yeah, just a dominant, sort of just what you said, really. Very dominant performance. I didn't give Metcalf around. The chicken legs was all going all over the place anytime she did get hit. She ended up getting dropped. The stoppage was a bit funny at the time when the ref just goes, "Oh, I don't like how she's reacting to the punches." It's just because her balance is just not in general. Footwork's not really good. It's nothing to do with all the punches are wobbling her. She's just not got very good balance, and that was it. But the ref probably just thought this is only going one way. There's no way back in it for her. Let me just stop this. But it wasn't really a fair stoppage the way he did it. He should have waited till there's maybe a set of punches and then, done a little early dive.
Even the doctor looked at him like, huh? What are you stopping it for?
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. That was a bit. That was dodgy. Um, but yeah, Sugar Neeks, yeah, very good performance by her, and yeah, that does make sense why she would have should have got the bonus. But yeah, shout out to her repping Maori heritage in New Zealand. So yeah, big up.
All right, and then look, last but not least, Tam Thibault, who I've been following for the last 2 years, from just before the Olympics. But obviously, she's been pretty well known on the scene beforehand. 160, Southpaw, is used to fighting 3 minutes, and is, I think, in the code. Currently, I think she's only all of her three fights. She's only fought 3 minute rounds. I don't think she's interested in doing 2 minutes, and all of our opponents seem to be happy with that. Spiteful puncher, very very spiteful, hard hitting, technically correct. I think that she is going to be the heir apparent to the middleweight division. The only thing I hope is that there's enough of the new crop coming through of maybe bigger women coming into the game that can make those divisions above 147 a bit more substantial, a bit more, have a bit more depth in them, because otherwise she's going to run into the same kind of problem that Clarissa did, and Savannah and Shadesha and Fran Shona, that where they're only going to maybe have a handful of people that they can fight because they're just not the talent and the depth of talent in those divisions. But Tam Tibel, she's a real one. I didn't think she would stop Casamassa, but admittedly, I actually didn't realize it was 3 minute rounds they was fighting until after I did my pick. Otherwise, I would have probably gone for the stoppage. But yeah, she just like beat the brakes off of Mary. I didn't think it would be that bad, to how she did her, but got a lot. Like I said, I got a lot of Tam there, and as soon as she decides to stop boiling down to 147, I would like to see her and Lauren Price. I think because Lauren Price, obviously she fought 160 in the amateurs. There's no reason why, she can't have, because she's already got the size advantage against everyone at 147 anyway. So now let's see when you're next to someone who's maybe not, they're not super big. They're bigger than you, but not by a huge amount. Let's see how the skills play out that way. That's a fight that I want to see somewhere down the line, maybe in a year and a half. But yeah, look, just shout out to Tam Thibault. Commiserations to Mary Castle-Master, but she will be back, I'm sure. Like I said, those divisions, there's not a lot of girls, so there's going to be a lot of people fighting each other and getting brought back in those fights. But yeah, just any quick thoughts on Tam?
Yeah, no, yeah, good performance. Nice knockout in there by her. I saw that on the night, and I just looked at afterwards. I thought, oh, let me have a look at what she's done, like her pedigree wise. And I noticed that in the amateurs, she beat Mary Spencer, who's also from Canada, and she lost to. Unfortunately, she got drafted and picked against Cindy and Gamba in the final 16 in the Olympics. So that's what ended the Olympic dream. So she's obviously fought at a very high level in the amateurs, and yeah, it'll be good to see if there is some bigger women, to make a good pool of depth in there. She's 28 years old. Um, I know Clarissa Shields, campaigns in and around there, but we don't know how long she's going to be around. So hopefully, there's a new set of crop coming through, which will be able to bring her some good fights. And it's good to see her straight away off the bat on the 3 minutes thing, but she should learn to also get some 2 minutes up in there as well, just in case she is a B side and the A side saying to her 2 minutes, learn how to fight at a bit of a faster pace. But I know she would have known how to do that from the amateur circuit. But yeah, just someone to look forward to, and I hope that she makes the cut on your Fem Files.
Yeah, the long vaulted femme files that, yeah. Well, we'll see. To be honest, I don't even have time to do regular episodes nowadays, let alone extras. So we'll see how we get to. But look, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the show today. It's been a very extended one, obviously two high profile cards, and it's going to be the same thing next week. We might have to set aside 2.5 hours to do this. So it's probably going to be during the day. We're talking around 1-2 o'clock for those of you. But yeah, look, thank you everyone who's tuned in throughout all of the different platforms, whether it's mine, whether it's Fight Fan TV, October Red, Maestro, the actual Fight Talk live channel, which is still hanging on in there. If you're watching on the old TwitX and you've jumped over to any of the platforms from there as well, thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you are on TwitX, then definitely jump over to our YouTube channels and then hit the like and subscribe there and just help everyone grow. October Red will be back with us next week. Hopefully, we'll get Maestro in as well. But yeah, I guess we'll wait and see. Danny, any last words, and then sign them out the way that you normally do, the way you know how.
I'll just thank you everyone for tuning in. Also, when you do go over to the YouTube channels and you go onto any of our pages, be sure to go in the comment section and leave any thoughts and opinions on any of our comments on today's show, and your thoughts on any of the scorecards or the judging and the refing and future things like that. Just hit the comment section. As when you're also clicking that like button, it's free of charge. It helps the algorithm. It pushes it around as to suggested watches to other people. So we appreciate all your support. And there you have it, guys. It's another episode of Fight Talk Live. It's Danny Glover. It's Base the Kid. And remember, guys,
persistence beats resistance.
You know where it is.
Persistence beats resistance.